want them. They are eating all of the fish out of our reef. Imagine this cluster of rock right here, imagine that to be out of the reef. It is warm. A female lionfish lay eggs every 4 days. And that can equal up to 2 million eggs in just 1 year. Sandbar Sharks, and I bet you could take a wild guess where they like to hang out. They like the sandbars, that nice, calm, shallow water. Now these guys are only a little bit over a year old. They will let you get 7 to 9 feet long one day. And what's really cool about these guys is this is the very first time they've ever been born or breeding before in the state of Florida. And we think only the second time in the United States. Now for that reason, we are not going to meet them during this presentation. They get that at a separate time at the other end of the pool so we can monitor how much they're eating and how fast they're growing. Now the ones that we are going to feed are the ones that might eat. These are the nurse sharks. Has anyone seen a nurse shark on my vacation so far? Yeah, so if you see a shark in the Florida Keys, it's probably going to be this one. And when you see him, he's probably going to put it on the bottom like this. But there is one other thing in front of us. There's a fish. He's coming towards me now. That is a mud snapper. And no, he is not dinner. He's my cleanup crew. He's also here to prove my point today. Sharks don't walk their life healthy fish. Most sharks have to swim their whole entire lives just to breathe. So, our sandbars will never stop moving, not even for 1 second. They're what we call ram ventilators. They sleep with half the hemisphere they're breaking out at a time. But think about it this way. If you had to run your whole entire life to breathe, would you chase a snail or a rabbit? I would chase a snail. I wanted dinner that night. That's exactly what our sharks are going to think. See that fish is going over the news dog already. So you guys can start to see a little bit of cloud forming right on top. That's how that shark can take that up from a mile away and go find his food. But not only is the shark system smell really good, they have really well sense of hearing as well. They can hear distressed fish up to 2 football fields away. Now listen for their eagle muscle. You guys hear that popping noise? Yes. That is how they get things stuck in their food. Now a little bit about nurse sharks in general. You will notice these guys are completely flat, which means that they are benthic. They're bottom-dwelling animals. And because of that, they have 2 little white whiskers in front of their face. And those are called barbels. Those barbels help them feel into the sand to find crustaceans swimming down the ocean. Now there are a couple of rumors about nurse sharks, so do you want to go ahead and get out of the way? The first one is that this shark right here has no teeth that air on national television. I'm here to tell you it is the top right. Hold on, guys. It is the top predator of the ocean. I guarantee you a shark has teeth. But because of this, people in Florida will now try to tell you they are the teddy bears of the sea. And you can go up and ride it, hug it, kiss it, hold it up for a selfie, and you can even pull on his tail and you would do it big too. One, this is harassment to animals. We don't ever want to harass any animals, right guys? Right. Right, thank you. But also, it is a shark again. The only way for it to defend itself is to bite. And then in Florida did decide to test his fate when he decided to kiss a nurse shark. You learn that have up to 300 ways which are between the point efforts. Whatever goes into that mouth is not meant to come out of that mouth. Now I'm not saying this to scare you. If you happen to see a nurse shark while you're swimming, you don't need to stick your head up, scream shark, and start freaking out. They are one of the most docile types of sharks, and they're also crepuscular, which just simply means that they like to come out during dawn and dusk. They like those high traffic times. So during the day, remember lazy hunters, they lay on the bottom of the seafloor and sleep. As long as you don't crawl up and touch them, they're not going to come up and touch you. I've swam with them a million times at home, my fingers and toes, I promise. So there is one other shark I do want to talk about though. That's that big girl right up there. When I say shark, you're probably automatically think of this one, and that's because of a lot of movies that came out that were meant to scare you. This shark was actually caught off the coast of Nantucket in 1969. She is 16 feet long and 9 inches. Now we all know that super famous movie came out in the 70s, starred this exact shark right here. That was Jaws. In that movie, Hollywood tried to scare you. They tried to say that she was 25 feet long, and in the second movie, they tried to say that she was 35 feet long. That is way too big to ever be a great life guide. They also do not take down boats. They do not hunt tornadoes, and they will not bite you if they have it explode. Don't listen to Hollywood with everything they say. But the average size of a great white is right here, and the biggest they can get is 20 feet. Now, once those movies came out, everyone became so scared of sharks. They just started going to the ocean, pulling them out and killing them because they were sharks. Remember, we need them to keep our ecosystems clean. So it doesn't happen as much today anymore. But something that's been happening for a very long time is called the shark fin industry. The shark fin industry is when people go around, pull sharks out of the water, cut their fins off, and then let them go. They will drown without these fins. They need them to survive. All those fins are used for is something called shark fin soup and souvenirs. If you happen to see it while you're here in the United States, please report it. But if you're in another country, we just ask you to buy those items from page that demand. But before you guys go today, I want to give you a couple odds about shark attacks. If you live between the age of 80, you are more likely to get hit on the head by a cobra, date a supermodel, become a millionaire, get a royal flush in poker, and have a vending machine fall on top of you and you die, then you are being fatally attacked by an unprovoked shark. Typically, when we're attacked by a shark, we're in his backyard doing something that looks like his favorite snack. We like to surf and paddleboard. To them, we look like a sea turtle. They usually want to come up, take a bite out of you, pretty much you're not their favorite snack. They want nothing to do with you. If I had a big, juicy steak or whatever your favorite food was, and just waved it in front of your face, you would eventually want to bite too, right, guys? So that's all I have for you today. If you have any questions, please come up and ask. My name is Brianna, but I give out 10 sea creature stickers. If you happen to get one of those stickers, please make a line on my right-hand side here. If you did not get a sticker, hang around. I might have a couple pieces after. And then after this, at 5 o'clock, we are all going to meet the large baby fish outside. Thank you for coming to the Key West Aquarium.
And then we do have 2 scorpion fish in here. There's one down here. They're the grumpy looking fish that kind of sit on the bottom. There's another scorpion fish somewhere in here. He might be behind the rocks. Oh, he's on top of the rock. There we go. Yeah, so that is the scorpion fish. The scorpion fish and the eel are both native out here. So if you guys go out on the reef and you go snorkeling or anything like that, you can totally be on the lookout for those guys. And you can also be on the lookout for the lionfish. The lionfish is here and they are kind of all over the place, but they're not actually supposed to be here. So the lionfish got here, well, first off, they are not a native species. So the lionfish are native over in the Indo-Pacific, which is basically the opposite side of the world. The lionfish got here 2 possible ways. So one was possibly Hurricane Andrew. Hurricane Andrew actually came through and destroyed a lot of things, flooded a lot of aquariums, knocked down a lot of buildings, a lot of fish got swept out to sea, and a lot of animals in general got out from where they were because of the hurricane. So the lionfish was one of those that were reported missing after the hurricane. And then after that, they spotted 2 lionfish at a beach called Danny Beach, which is here in Florida. And then not long after that, the world pet trade became a big thing. So people were bringing animals from all over the world down here, selling them in pet stores for people to take home as pets. Now the lionfish was one of those. So people were taking them home, putting them in their at-home aquariums, and most of those people realize that they don't make very good pets unless they are the only fish you want, because they like to eat other live fish. So those people, we believe, took the lionfish, dumped them in their canals, maybe took them on the boat, dumped them in the ocean because they didn't want them anymore. So now they have pretty much blown up and are all over the place. Now there's a few problems with having the lionfish here. So the lionfish, one, have no natural predators here in our waters. And this is kind of a little confusing, but I'm going to explain it the best way I can. So basically every single ecosystem is different. Every ecosystem builds their own food chain, and they've built these food chains over hundreds of years. Now when you take something from one ecosystem and put them into another ecosystem, nothing in that new ecosystem is going to recognize that animal. So basically it can actually take hundreds of years for a new species to be accepted and recognized into a whole new food chain. So that's how long it can take before our fish start to naturally eat the lionfish, hundreds of years. Now, the biggest problem with having them here is that they don't like dead prey, they only like live prey. So maybe it wouldn't be, we wouldn't mind having them here if they were scavengers and they just spent all their time eating dead things that they found. That would kind of help us keep the ocean clean. But instead, these guys would swim right past something dead on the ocean floor and instead chase something perfectly alive and healthy, which is reducing our local fish population out of the reef. So basically, the lionfish are eating all of our local fish, lowering the populations, and that's not good. Now how they work, if the lionfish find a spot that they like, they will stay there for as long as they can, and then they'll start to colonize. They'll start to kind of hang out in a group. So imagine this cluster of rocks right here. Imagine that to be out at our reef. I've actually seen a spot like this out at our reef with 15, maybe 20 lionfish all sitting on top of it. Now, the reason that their numbers are so successful here is because if the temperature is right, a female lionfish can lay eggs every 4 days. And that can equal up to 2 million eggs in just 1 year. Now normally when an animal lays eggs, other animals will feed off those eggs. That's just part of the circle of life. But when the lionfish lay their eggs, they leave a big nasty mucus bubble around those eggs. That mucus bubble smells bad, it tastes bad, so nothing eats their eggs. They normally hatch successfully. So just a few more things to know before we dump in the food. So first off, when the food goes in, pay attention to the circular fins that they have on the bottom. They use those to kind of corral their prey when they eat. And their spines are all venomous, so they are venomous, and all these little spines that they have sticking out. And their mouth looks really small, but they can open their mouth to be about as wide as their head, which is really bad because that means they can eat something this big out of the reef, but they can also eat something almost half of their own body weight. So that's a big, wide variety of fish that we have swimming around in the ocean, right? So what we're going to do right now, I'm going to have my partner dump in some live fish so you guys can see an example of what I'm talking about. And then I will tell you guys what you can do to help us get rid of the lionfish. So give me 1 second here.
I didn't see that. Are you going to go ahead?
Wow.
There we go. Oh no, we missed it. It missed it. Still there. So yeah, so this is just a really good example of what they're doing out at the reef. I'm sure they'll find that guy eventually. But if he dies, they probably will.
So that's why it's a little harder for people who come to catch them.
Yeah, maybe in that.
Lionfish.
That's a good question. So if your question is, do they use their spines to hunt their prey? So no, they do not use their spines to hunt their prey. They will use their spines almost as a defense mechanism. So they don't shoot out or they don't go after things, but if something is trying to eat them, what they'll do is they'll stick their spines forward and try and look as big as they can to scare away whatever is trying to eat them. So in a second, you're going to see how they eat. They don't use their spines. They basically just, they're really fast. They just grab their food really, really fast. Oh, yeah. Is there a question over here? Yes. What do they use to catch their prey? They don't barb their prey. So their prey does not get barbed at all.
we can see the feedings.
She knows me personally. I'm actually one of her trainers. So two of us here, yeah, I see you hiding in there, Barry. Two of us here actually train her. We have half of a bucket that we put into the water, and she knows to come up into the middle of it and we hand feed her. In Hawaii, they have a pufferfish where they're able to show her a series of 3 pictures, point one out, and turn her to someone else. And the reasoning for that is they can actually gulp air from the surface. So if you get one of these guys on your line, be prepared to fight him up to 4 hours. He does all sorts of fun things to get away from you, like flips and jumps and anything else. But if you catch a tarpon, you actually cannot keep him unless it breaks a record. You have a permit, and you can only keep 1 a year. The last one to be legally kept in the state of Florida was in 1973, and it was 243 pounds. Hunter is 220 pounds. Now a man caught him on a 20-pound test line, so it's pretty impressive. Our tarpon were actually gifted to us 55 years ago. Now some other really fun ones are our jacks. Those are those gray ones with the white fins on top, and they can see up and out of the water. So when I throw this food, they're usually the very first ones to it. So this totally means while you're staring at these fish today, they're staring at you back, by the way. You look just as funny to them as they do to you. But the only fish faster than the jack in here are two barracuda. They're long, black, and torpedo looking. If I see one, I'll point him out. I just have a really bad glare right now. But a lot of people might try to tell you, you have to take off all your shiny things before you get in the water or a barracuda will come get you. Don't listen to them. They are naturally curious, and as I just said, you're the weirdest thing they've ever seen. They're what we call a stock predator. They're just gonna come check you out. Now luckily for us, barracuda do not hunt anything over a third of their own body size. So that even rules out the little ones, you're fine. The only way you would have to worry about a barracuda is if you are spearfishing. If you have a bloody dead fish underneath that ocean, you have free food. I suggest you get that free food on the boat as fast as possible. Now we also have some groupers in here. The groupers are the ones on the bottom with the checkered patterns on their back. One is also trying to defend his territory alongside the wall right there. Groupers are really well known for hanging out on rocks, by rocks, and near the keys, in between two pieces of bread. They're at almost every single restaurant. They're really tasty if you've never tried one. Now we also have some red drum. That's this guy right there. They call them red drum because during spawning season they can make a drum sound underwater. We also have some tropical fish. We have a Porcupine Pufferfish. She's big, white with black spots on her. We also have a blue angelfish swimming past my dock now. She's yellow and outlined in bright blue. And then last but not least, we have our rainbow parrotfish. That's that neon green one in here. There are two of them. When you see them, I want you to take a look at their mouth. You're going to see where they get their name parrotfish. Their teeth are infused into a beak. They use that to eat algae off the rocks and the coral. But when they do that, they get limestone in their stomachs and it has to go somewhere, right? So it gets grinded up, comes out the other end as a white piece of grain. We like to call that white piece of grain beach sand. That means 1/3 of the world's tropical beaches are totally parrotfish poop. 1 5-pound parrotfish can create about 1 ton of sand each year. So next time you go to the beach, I want you to wiggle your toes in the sand and say thank you. Now guys, I just have one rule before we start the fun part. When you get the food, please do not throw it at the turtle. He got 6 whole pounds of food this morning. He will get 6 more pounds tomorrow. What usually happens when you throw these small pieces at him, it hits him in the head, the other fish harass him. He has the brain the size of a walnut. He's really slow. So we need to just help him out and not throw food at him. He is well fed.
Brianna, I want to see what they're